Hi there. Welcome once again, Disability Law Show. Good to have you with us for the next 30 minutes. I'm John Scholes. He is Sivan Tumarkin, co-founding partner, Samfiru Tumarkin LLP, the most positively reviewed law firm in the country. Have questions, confusions, myths, all that surrounding disability law. That's what we shatter on this show. And we provide some clarity for you, things you may not know and things you want to learn after the show. You can always reach out to Sivan and a member of his team, always ready to talk to you. The phone number first, 1-855-821-5900. Email is help@disabilityrights.ca. There's a couple other websites you'll be made aware of throughout the half hour, so we'll get to those. But we're also going to get into this later on. The main topic for today, 3 questions people have when they are cut off of LTD. That's on the way, Sivan, but we always start off. You warm us up, exercise those disability law muscles with the week that was. What do you got? Something fresh, by the way, I just heard.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, good.
As I was preparing for today's show, we had a very busy week, as we always do, and there was an actual case I was going to talk to you about that had to do with addiction. It had to do with drug addiction, an insurance company cutting a person off because of a relapse. So I'll save that for next time because just before we went on air, I got an email from a gentleman, and he echoed what I've been hearing actually the last few weeks from a few other individuals. And it's something that we haven't really spoken about a lot in the past, John. It was a professional. It was somebody who's an accountant. He's in his 50s. And he's experiencing mental health issues, and he was on LTD, and he's been on LTD for almost 2 years. And as you know, around that 2-year mark, many long-term disability insurers cut people off. They say that, you know, you can do some other kind of work, some other kind of job or occupation, and so therefore we're going to cut off your benefits. However, this person is a professional, and what I have been seeing lately, I don't know why, maybe it's a coincidence, but I've had several professionals contact me. I've had a dentist the week before, I had a family doctor, an emergency room doctor as well, an engineer. I've had several individuals who all have private policies, private LTD policies. So when you are claiming long-term disability, typically most people have LTD coverage through their health benefits at work. And those kinds of policies typically have a change of definition date. And what that means is that to qualify for long-term disability, if you can't work because of an illness or an injury, for the first 2 years, you have to demonstrate with the help of your doctors, written form, that you cannot perform the essential tasks of your own occupation. Beyond the 2-year mark, the test changes. Yep. Right? It's no longer can you perform the essential tasks of your own occupation, but can you perform the essential tasks of any occupation for which you're suited for by training, education, or experience. And so in many professional policies that you buy privately, if you're a professional especially, typically there is a rider that you can select. Many brokers will tell you about it. If they don't, they should, where you can pay a bit extra for that rider, and instead of having that change of definition, you actually have your own occupation as the test throughout the life of the policy. That means that there is no 2-year mark.
Wow.
It means that you can be 35 years old, as an example, with that kind of a policy. You now cannot work or perform the essential tasks of your own occupation. And as long as you cannot work in your own occupation until age 65 or higher, depending on your policy, you should be getting LTD. Well, this person, this accountant who contacted me says, listen, the adjuster, I think, made a mistake because clearly I have my own occupation rider. There is no change of definition. And you know, and he's right. I looked at the policy and he has that. So I'll be able to correct that with the insurance company fairly quickly and make sure he gets the money he's owed. But it does highlight the fact that when you're dealing with professionals or generally higher earners, and we deal with those kinds of claims quite a lot in our office, you do have insurance companies who are trying extra hard to cut people off exactly because they have to pay so much money on those policies. And it takes, I think, a certain reputation and a certain stamina and experience on our end to be able to push those claims through and to go after insurance companies and force them to pay what these people are owed. Again, dentists, lawyers, doctors, we've dealt with all kinds, executives, people who have their own private policy. And by the way, many of these policies are non-taxable. So it's something, you know, there's more money that's owed to our clients in those situations. So again, if you have a policy, a private policy, and you purchase your own occupation rider on it, you're not going to have a 2-year change of definition within that. So be very careful if the insurance company says that your claim somehow ends at the 2-year. I mean, be careful in general.
Right.
The insurance company says your claim ends at the 2-year mark. Ask questions, contact us, speak with us, because in many cases, John, your LTD should continue past that 2-year mark.
And I think that's where a lot of the confusion is. People think, oh, they said I only get LTD for 2 years. My policy is only a 2-year policy. They may be 35, 2-year point. It's like, no, you potentially have another 30 years on this policy if that's the case. I think they're getting confused with that 2-year mark.
Yeah,
right?
and the confusion sometimes is due to the adjuster not being clear. Sometimes it's due to the person not reading their policy. You're absolutely right. The vast majority of long-term disability policies with insurance companies take you to age 65. Mm-hmm. Are there time-limited policies out there for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Yes, there are. They're very few and far between. Generally, if it's through the employer, it's because the employer wants to save some money. Different discussion. But the point is, the vast majority of these policies will take you to age 65. Some of them, I call them the golden policies, they'll take you beyond age 65 even. So again, you want to make sure you have a copy of your own policy. Even before you apply for LTD, you can get that from your HR at your company or from the insurance company directly. This is your contract with the insurance company. You're entitled to see it.
When the insurance company can and most likely will come a knocking at that 2-year mark in and around there with that change of definition, A, should you panic? B, is that when you start getting your doctor involved as your defense, and they should call you right away, yeah?
Excellent points, excellent questions. Right. So number one, do not panic. Prepare, do not panic. That's my motto. Do not panic, prepare. If you panic, you lose your head, you don't know what to do. But look, we are here for you. We have been here for people for years, helping them against insurance companies. And many of our lawyers, myself included, used to work for insurance companies. So we understand the dynamic. We understand the pressure points for insurance companies. And let me tell you something. I'll dispel a myth. Insurance companies don't have the leverage you think they do. Yes, they have billions of dollars, but they don't want to spend that money fighting claims. They just don't. I used to laugh that every time, when I was a defense lawyer, a claim would land on my desk to defend it for the insurance company. Along with the file came a phone call from the adjuster instructing me, asking me, how much is it going to cost us? And I'm like, the insurance company, they have billions of dollars. Why do you care? Well, because we have so many lawyers fighting these claims. We're bleeding money. We don't want to pay these lawyers to fight these claims. Insurance companies would rather settle these cases. Now, sometimes they do have a point. Sometimes they are correct, and so they will fight some cases. But the majority of times, in my experience, they would like to come to the table to try and strike a resolution. Keep in mind, though, it's not going to be easy, but this is where we come in. Yep. We know the system. And to answer your question, John, the other point you made, yes, your doctors should be on your side. Throughout the life of your claim, your doctors should provide periodic reports or updates about your condition. Again, depending on the case, doesn't have to be every week or every month. But if the insurance company wants an update, you should provide that, generally speaking. Sure. Again, not too much because we know doctors are busy, obviously, and it costs money to get these updates. But again, if you have any questions, this is where you contact. You give us a call or you email us or you post a question on our websites and you'll get answers for free. We do not charge for any consultations. We don't even charge when you hire us. We only get paid if we extract money from the insurance company for you. Yeah. I mean, what do you have to lose?
Again, reaching out with that phone call, as Sivan just mentioned, 1-855-821-5900. Another website you can use. I know normally it's resting places on our other show, the Employment Law Show, but pocketemploymentlawyer.ca. I bring that up again. This show is because there's a pretty robust section, a necessary section there, Sivan, on disability law, right?
John, I think maybe 50% of the questions that we get about long-term disability issues also have some kind of an employment law component. Right. Yeah. I'm on long-term disability and my employer let me go. What do I do? Do I need an employment lawyer, a disability lawyer, a hybrid lawyer? What do I need? Various issues like that. I got severance. I got, I got a bonus during the time I was disabled and the insurance company wants to claw that back. My pocket employment lawyer, that tool, that web tool was created to provide quick, free, and anonymous answers, not only for employment law questions, but long-term disability questions, because there is that interplay between the two. And I tell people, John, do not go to Google and simply search your questions because you're going to get American websites. You may even get some Canadian ones that give you erroneous information. Better yet, go to this website, pocketemploymentlawyer.ca, because you're going to get customized answers to your questions, employment law and long-term disability, within seconds. Yeah. And if you don't want to, contact us afterwards, just close the browser. We will not know you were there. But if you want to speak with us after, click the button for a free consultation and you'll be able to speak with somebody on our team.
Let's grab an email. That address, by the way, anytime, help@disabilityrights.ca. Charles is the first one, says, due to a serious heart condition that came on suddenly years ago, my cardiologist requested I stop working. I tried to go back to work after only a few months on LTD, but the stress caused me me to end up in the ER. I went back on LTD. Now, months later, after a small bit of improvement, my insurer is trying to rush me back to my job. Do I have a right to push back if I'm not ready?
100%. I know, again, it seems common sense, but people don't know what is right and what is wrong, what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do. They are told certain things by insurance companies, and quite frequently, these things are wrong. Remember, insurance companies have one motive, and that is to make a profit. I don't begrudge them for that. I begrudge them for the methods they use, because it's on the backs of people who are disabled. And remember, these insurance companies got premiums paid. They got paid for this product, this safety net that they're supposed to be providing, whether they got paid by you as the claimant through a personal policy or by your employer as part of a group health benefits package. The point is that they're supposed to be paying. Now, for Charles here, clearly he's not making anything up. This is a serious heart condition. He tried to go back already, and he failed. He should not be trying a gradual return to work unless he's comfortable doing that, unless he feels he's ready, and I highlight and, his doctor, his cardiologist, says that he is ready to try a return to work program. I don't care what the insurance company says. I don't care what the insurance company's doctors say. I care only about how Charles feels. He's in the best position to assess whether he's ready, and how his cardiologist, his doctor. If both of them say yes, he should be ready to try and go back to work, then yes, Charles, you should be trying to go back to work. Again, you have to coordinate with the employer, you have to coordinate with the insurance company, and of course, with your cardiologist. But absent him and his doctor feeling that this is the right time, the answer is no. And you can communicate that in writing to the adjuster with an explanation. If the doctor says no, you say, my doctor says that it's too premature. Here's a note from my doctor explaining why. That note, that report from your cardiologist will act as a shield. What happens if the insurance company ignores it? That's a common question. I've given the insurance company a note, a report says I'm not ready to go back to work. Well, you've put it in writing to the insurance company. If they tell you, no, you're going to have to do it, or else we're going to cut off your benefits, you give us a call immediately. Because we're going to come down on this insurance company like a ton of bricks.
Coming up, 3 questions people have when they are cut off LTD. That's on the way after a short break. But in the meantime, that number that Sivan keeps talking about, 1-855-821-5900. And you can reach out at help@disabilityrights.ca. We'll continue. More Disability Law Show is coming up. People think contractors aren't owed severance. EmploymentLawyer.ca says that is a myth. Many contractors are actually employees and are entitled to full severance pay. Always check with the employment lawyer first at EmploymentLawyer.ca. How do you force insurance companies to pay long-term disability claims?
Insurance companies deny legitimate claims all the time. They're playing the odds. They know that most people are just going to walk away.
Your insurer may ignore you. They may even ignore your doctors, but they can't ignore us.
We know how insurance companies work. We know their weaknesses. We know how to use the legal process to force them to pay you what you're owed.
Go to disabilityrights.ca. Discover your rights, fight back, and get what you're owed. People think you are only owed 2 weeks' pay when you lose your job. EmploymentLawyer.ca says that is a myth. You may be owed much more than 2 weeks per year. Don't settle for less. Always check with the employment lawyer first at EmploymentLawyer.ca. Alrighty, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. The Disability Law Show. I'm John Scholes. He is Sivan Tumarkin, co-founding partner, Samfiru Tumarkin LLP. They are the most positively reviewed law firm in the country, right? Reach out. Don't hesitate to have that phone call, 1-855-821-5900, and email help@disabilityrights.ca. If you're in Alberta, BC, Ontario, anywhere across this country outside of Quebec, they can help you. So feel free to reach out. All right, 3 questions people have when they're cut off from LTD. This first question, I love this one, Sivan. We'll spend some good time on this one. Should I apply for CPP Disability or other programs when that happens?
Yes, yes, you should. And you may get conflicting advice from different lawyers who deal with this area of law. My view is that anything that helps you through this tough time is a good thing. Now, if you go to one of our websites, ltdfaq.ca, long-term disability frequently asked questions.ca, you will see that there is a bunch of memos there that we've created, and we keep adding to them, and they're very short. They're 1 or 2 or 3 pages long, and they're in plain language. There's no legal terminology in there. And they're in about various themes. And one of the themes, and by the way, they're free. And one of the themes, one of these documents you can click on and download has to do with CPP disability, frequently asked questions about CPP disability.
Yeah.
And I tell people, look, what is the downside for applying for CPP disability if you are cut off LTD or even before you are cut off LTD? CPP disability is it's a government federal government program that requires you to be disabled from working. You must have a disability that is serious and prolonged. And if you meet that criteria, which is arguably more difficult to meet than LTD, but still should be able to deal with it, well, then you should be able to get CPP disability, and that means money in your pocket. Now, insurance companies may deduct, in fact, they probably will deduct whatever it is you're getting from CPP disability from whatever they're paying you, because you're not getting them stacked. It's not LTD plus CPP disability. It's LTD gets reduced by whatever you get for CPP disability. But guess what? If you get cut off LTD, as in this case, you asked me the question, you still have CPP disability that is coming to you. So you have a revenue source. You have, not a revenue source, you have a money source. Something that can prop you up and help you with your expenses while we fight the insurance company for you. So again, many other questions about CPP disability, which you can get from that website, ltdfaq.ca.
Plus, this question is, should I apply? But your insurance policy might say you need to apply, correct?
Yes, absolutely correct. Your insurance company is likely going to tell you at some point to apply for CPP disability, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. If you don't, they may try to guesstimate how much you should be getting from the government for CPP disability and then reduce unilaterally your LTD payments accordingly. Again, it depends whether or not they can do that on their policy, and we advise people on that, again, for free, but that's something to consider, John. Really, there is very little downside in my mind for applying for CPP disability if you are, in fact, disabled from working.
Question number 2 is this, Bal. Can a treating physician or medical team help me get my LTD benefits back?
They could, absolutely. Remember, your doctors are the ones that are providing information that's vital for the assessment of your LTD claim by the insurance company. So the initial physician's application, right, that they prepare when you apply for LTD, or along the way when the insurance company is asking for updates, or when they cut you off or tell you they're going to cut you off because you don't meet the threshold. You're not disabled under the policy in their mind. Or perhaps you can do some other work, right, another occupation perhaps at that 2-year mark. Your treating physicians, your treating practitioners, doesn't have to be a physician, by the way, it can be a psychologist, other individuals who are treating you. Those reports are very, very important. Now, when we fight your claim, when we get in the picture and we start rumbling with the insurance company, we're going to ask you, are your doctors supportive of you being off work because of your illness or your injury or whatever the issue is? And we're going to want to get updated reports from them. We'll pay for those, by the way. We will pay your doctors or whoever for whatever reports are required for their time to prepare those reports. But yes, absolutely, a treating physician or a practitioner is, I would say, vital for the advancement of an LTD claim, especially when we are in a fight with the insurance company. We were talking, there's 303, but 3 big questions people ask when they're cut off LTD, and now we're getting the one closer to where you guys come in. That is, do I have to accept being cut off from benefits if I'm still not well enough to work? No, and again, it seems like a nonsensical question, but no, because most people, when the insurance company says you don't qualify under our LTD policy or the terms because you're not totally disabled, let's say. Love that term. And and you say, but I can't work or I can't perform the essential tasks of my occupation, and my doctors agree with me. And the insurance company says, yes, but you're not totally disabled, highlighting totally. You think to yourself, and your doctors think, well, maybe you are not, in fact, qualified for long-term disability. But that's just an invention, right? This is something that was invented by the insurance company, this term totally. So when you're asking me, do you have to accept being cut off LTD while unable to work? Absolutely not. The insurance company wants you to accept it. And by the way, people out there accept that each and every day. The question is, are they educated enough? Do you have enough information? Have you empowered yourself by understanding what does total disability mean? What are the terms under my policy? Have I spoken to Sivan or a member of his team for free to understand what my rights are now that the insurance company has said you're no longer getting LTD benefits? If you haven't done that, I can't help you. If you reach out to us, we will give you a menu of options. There's almost always a menu of options to choose from, but you have to come to us so we can tell you, because we can't tell you in a vacuum. Look, John, we are going through questions. You have questions. We're going through emails, but we are speaking in generalities. There's only so much time we have on these shows. When we speak with people by phone, by Zoom, whichever way, We can spend time with them. We can review the records. Again, it's all for free. Our goal is to educate people and empower them.
Coming up here, should you appeal a denial if you've been told you have lackluster or not enough medical documentation? We'll get to that after a short break. In the meantime, 1-855-821-5900, help@disabilityrights.ca through email as well. We'll continue. This is the Disability Law Show.
People think you have to sign back a severance offer by a deadline. EmploymentLawyer.ca says that is a myth. Deadlines are used as a pressure tactic. Make sure the offer is fair before you sign. Always check with the employment lawyer first at EmploymentLawyer.ca. Can insurance companies deny long-term disability claims for mental illness?
When you're suffering from a mental health disability, insurance companies just don't understand. But we do.
They can absolutely not force you back to work. If your doctors say you are not ready and you know you're not ready, they cannot make you go back to work.
If you have a mental health disability and your claim is denied, don't give up. Give us a call and let us fight for you.
Go to disabilityrights.ca. Discover your rights, fight back, and get what you're owed. People think you aren't owed severance pay if you are fired for a reason. EmploymentLawyer.ca says that is a myth. Most for-cause terminations are false, and you are still owed full severance. Always check with the employment lawyer first at EmploymentLawyer.ca.
All right, welcome back. Disability Law Show. A reminder that Sivan and team can help you across the country, anywhere outside of Quebec. Just reach out, make that phone call, right? 1-855-821-5900, or an email is help@disabilityrights.ca. And I did mention this website earlier, mydisabilityquestions.com. The whole reason that was put together was for you to ask questions. Again, it's anonymous, it's free, it's also got a searchable database, so your question may have been asked previously by someone else. Save you a bit of time, right, if you just got to read it. If not, you can leave it there, and Sivan and his team will get to it. First one for today, Sivan, comes from Lucas. I'll give you a warning, he's about to drop the A-bomb a little later on this note. He says, I've been receiving my LTD insurance benefit payments just under 2 years when they suddenly stopped. I was told the reason was because they had not received any updated medical records from my doctor, and that I can appeal the decision. There you go. Is that my best option? Definitely not.
That's it, John.
Definitely
Absolutely
not.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
The A-bomb, exactly. The
Awful.
appeal. We talked about that. The appeal. Do not appeal these long-term disability denials or cutoff of benefits. Again, we've done shows on this topic, right? These appeals are an internal process. Now, Lucas, look, if they're saying that they haven't received your doctor's records, we need to understand what happened there. Are they talking about important records? Or are they talking about, not receiving them for a year after making 10,000 requests? We need to understand. John, I had a situation once where a person only found out that his doctor had passed away 3 months after the doctor passed away. And the insurance company was upset that the doctor wasn't responsive and was threatening to cut off the benefits. And then when we dug into it and we found out that the doctor had passed away, we figured out how to get whatever necessary documentation to the insurance company that they required. My point is there can be a miscommunication. Now, something that's interesting here with Lucas is that he says, I've been receiving my LTD insurance payment for just under 2 years when suddenly they stopped. In many cases, people, when they get LTD payments are not just suddenly stopped in most cases. Sometimes they do, and usually it's because the insurance company has done something off. They did not notify the person as they should have, etc. But really, when the insurance company typically stops payments, LTD payments, they give you advance notice. Yeah. And I tell people, listen, get in touch with us as soon as you get that advance notice. If the adjuster says in 2 months or in a week or in 6 months, your benefits will stop, they will stop. Don't try and fix it by yourself, because chances are you're going to get into a mess. I've seen people think that they have time. They don't. They try and appeal these decisions. Those appeals go nowhere fast. And then the benefits stop, and suddenly they have no money coming in. So, Lucas, I think that we can help here. We need to understand why the records have not gotten to the insurance company. We need to also understand, John, what kind of records are those? I've had another situation in the past where a person was treated by a psychologist. And the insurance company wanted records from somebody else that was treating the person in a peripheral way. I think it was a rheumatologist. It wasn't even a family doctor. It was just somebody who was treating a condition. But the primary source of disability was psychological. And the psychologist was sending records and reports to the insurance company. But the adjuster wanted records from the rheumatologist. Well, the rheumatologist was unresponsive, and so the insurance company cut off the person's benefits because the rheumatologist wouldn't send records. That's ludicrous. That wasn't even the primary reason for the person being off work. It was a psychologist.
Right.
And that psychologist was giving reports and records consistently. So my point is, insurance companies, again, will find any excuse under the sun to cut off your benefits. If at any point you have concerns, you give us a call. It costs nothing. I can't stress that enough. Nothing to speak with a member of my team. I don't care if you're in BC, Ontario, Alberta, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, anywhere in the country except for Quebec. We don't. Quebec is a different type of law. But anywhere in the country, we have helped people with these kinds of questions, and we've helped them, we've empowered them, and they've learned how to deal with these insurance companies.
Want to grab an email? Again, that's help@disabilityrights.ca. Anytime you want to contribute or just have one read privately by Sivan and his team. Tio writes in, says, I've been on disability benefits for almost a year. Well, on a wait list to see a specialist, a colleague recently mentioned that the owners of the company might be retiring soon and shutting down the shop. If I lose my job, does that put my LTD claim in jeopardy?
No. And this is a major concern for many people. And this happened also during COVID when people were on LTD, John, and companies were tragically shutting down left, right, and center. And even now, look, there's a recession looming. Who knows what's going to happen? So people understandably are very concerned. They're on LTD. They've been approved. They're getting payments. But they're concerned what happens if my employer goes bust or if they're being sold to another company, etc.
Right.
Look, if you are on LTD, your LTD will continue so long as you do not qualify for LTD under the policy itself. That could be if you reach age 65, and that's the age limit of the policy. It could be if you're not disabled anymore from working, etc. But just because your employer has shut down, the company has shut down, or the company was bought over, or whatever, it doesn't matter with respect to your ongoing LTD claim. The only way that you can stop getting LTD if you have an ongoing LTD claim is if you somehow do not qualify under the policy at, in the future. But again, don't let the insurance company confuse you, because the company shutting down and you not being totally disabled are two distinct things.
Yeah.
They have nothing to do with one another.
Yeah. Let's get to a quick one from Jeremiah, mydisabilityquestions.com. The insurance adjuster I had for the first year of my LTD claim was understanding and helpful, but at the start of the second year of my claim, they gave me a new person who was much more aggressive and unsympathetic. It seems like they don't believe me and are slowly working to get me off benefits. How do I push back?
Well, you push back by sticking to your guns, making sure that you're in constant communication with your doctors, making sure that you communicate in writing with this adjuster, this aggressive adjuster. Remember, they're supposed to be helping you. The insurance company has a fiduciary duty that they owe you. That means that there is a special relationship between you and the insurance company.
Right.
They can't simply, throw you under the car, or under the bus. They have to treat you with respect. If you feel that this adjuster is being unnecessarily aggressive, if they're exacerbating whatever condition you have, make sure you speak with your doctors about it. Make sure you record that in writing contemporaneously. Make sure you record your conversations in writing with the adjuster and email the adjuster. I don't care if the email comes back, if the adjuster takes issue with it or doesn't respond. The point is you've emailed the adjuster, the nature of the communications, and if it gets to the point where it really is so bad that you can't even speak with this adjuster anymore, give us a call. John, I love nothing more than an aggressive adjuster, because when we get involved, they become puppies. Right? I mean, we can hit them 10 times as hard, and it's completely inappropriate and unprofessional for any adjuster to make a claimant that is disabled from working feel like somehow they're a criminal. We just don't take that, and we fight very, very hard against that.
I can't imagine an insurance company like that either, how they're dealing with that type of adjuster.
They don't. And if you have sufficient complaints from claimants, well, that these adjusters don't stay there very long. Most adjusters are not like that, but there is, again, recourse, and we can help you with that.
Yeah. Again, all different ways to reach out. Now that we're wrapping up for another day, thank you so much for joining us. 1-855-821-5900 is always a phone number you can use, toll free, of course, and then email is help@disabilityrights.ca. Sivan did mention that website that has short, concise, easy to read, non-legalese notes on it called ltdfaq.ca, and then there's always mydisabilityquestions.com. We read them on the show. You can contribute to that website. It's free. It's anonymous, absolutely searchable, which means your question may have been asked previously, so you just got to read it and walk away. Anytime you close your browser, you're good to go. We'll catch you next time on the Disability Law Show. Thank you so much for watching.